Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Whiskey Wednesday Show with your hosts, Ken Tizzard and Music for Goats. Brought to you in full color and stereo sound amplification provided by Trainer. Broadcasting into the world from Storyhouse Studios in Campbellford, Ontario, you'll hear the best of old country, folk, Americana, punk rock, and 80s music delivered into your homes every week for free. And don't forget your regular dose of new and original songs from Music for Goats. Never be alone on a Wednesday night again, 8 p.m. Eastern at 9:30 for those of you in Newfoundland. Join the Whiskey Wednesday regulars on Facebook to be a part of the conversation, or watch on YouTube as well. Pour a drink, a cup of tea, or a nice cold long tooth. Roll up your best smoke and sit back and relax. Don't forget to hit the share button to help spread the word. The Whiskey Wednesday Show, every week. Cheers. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Barry just flicked the switch, and I think that means that I'm not talking into my mic. There you go. Welcome to Whiskey Wednesday once again. We are your hosts, Music for Goats. My name is Ken Tizzard. We have the usual goats, Neil Lucy, Mr. Steve Dagg, Ken Grant. Trouble with names tonight.
Yeah, what's his name?
And tonight, you'll see there's an extra person in the studio. You see the back of Barry's head, of course. But to my right, we have Mr. Steve Petico, who's a guitar player. And I don't know what to say about somebody like Steve and how to introduce him, because he's been... I think I can just sum it up by saying he's lived his life playing guitar. Would that be correct and accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
47 years.
Yeah, it's been, I tried going through your, I'm like, okay, I better do the sort of update on him, and I started making notes, and I went, oh my God, I'm going to be like reading a story for a while if I introduce this guy this way. You have worked with everybody. You continue to do it on your own terms. I saw an interview with you where you said, you're at that lucky point of being a musician where you don't have to make calls. You kind of wait and the phone rings and you work, and then when you're not working, you're just kind of existing. That's pretty great.
It's almost always been like that, actually. Just people have always called me, and unless I put a show together or something, that's where the work is in the business. And, with me, I just get calls and go where I'm asked to be. Nice. It's fun.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And I know that I love playing music. I love having my life based around it, and it's great to meet other people. And you live just down the road from us, which is insane. You're in Brighton, Ontario, right?
Yeah.
That's so crazy close. Well, we've got Mr. Steve Petico here with us tonight, and it is Petico, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I've heard them all.
I'm sure you have.
Petico.
Yeah. Petico. Okay, good. I'm glad I got that right. We're going to play some tunes for you, usual stuff, and we're going to do some Steve-oriented stuff so that we can see what his guitar playing is all about. I do want to acknowledge an old friend of mine, Jackie Cook, who passed away yesterday. Jackie was a great friend and back home in Newfoundland. Everything I play tonight, I'll be thinking about Jackie, and next week we'll do the show dedicated to Jackie. I'll get some pictures ready and do that whole thing and play a bunch of songs. Jackie used to house the band when we were home in Newfoundland. You guys have both stayed there several times.
Yeah, amazing.
Neil has met her recently, but never had the pleasure of staying at her place. And it was a sudden death, and it was really unfortunate. And perhaps tonight we'll start off with Fare Thee Well. We'll dedicate it to Jackie, and we'll get into some other stuff from there. So this is our first time having a live guest in the studio with us. We're really happy. But we'll see how it goes. Fare thee well, fare thee well. I'll see you again in heaven, or I might see you in hell. If there's nothing more, when this life is through, let it stand that I've enjoyed this time with you. On golden shores we'll hold each other once again, or in the depths of heaven we'll sail through the wars of man. If there's nothing more, I'll say it once again. My life is full of brothers and a man. Don't shed no tears, don't cry no more. May you find the joy in living life as you did before. Some things will change, some will stay the same.
like a New Orleans jazz band. Take it away, Steve. Just one last kiss before we part. Let me hold you close and feel the beating of your heart. Just one last kiss on a night so blue. I can't bear to spend another minute losing you. May your heart grow bright and you stay safe and warm inside. May these four walls protect you from the winds outside. When you lay your head down and it's tired dark between your seats, and you close your eyes and dream of a place where we might meet. Fare thee well, I'll see you again in heaven, or I might see you in hell. On golden shores we'll hold each other once again, or in the depths of hell we'll suffer through the woes of men. If there's nothing more, then I'll say it once again. You made my life as full and bright as any man. You made my life as full and bright as any man. Oh babe, you made my life as full and bright as any man. Wow.
Lovely.
Wow, that's what a guitar player would do in a song like that. I was putting together a list of some songs that we could play, and I was saying like there's one in particular where I was like, oh yeah, I've got this sort of great guitar intro, you know, it goes like it's like all these little things, and I just thought this is going to be such an interesting night to sit back and have somebody who really knows the instrument inside out, and the way that I have such great respect for, to hear what you would do with these songs. That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. It's great to be here doing this.
It's a fun thing, you know.
Sure
like I
is.
say, we do it every week. It's the way that we've kept saying the last couple of years. And it's been. And Steve went through a whole battle of cancer, and he got cancer last December, and he's been
Crazy
through
year.
everything. He's
Feeling good now, but yeah, it was a rough year.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is all about sort of the four of us keeping each other sane and playing music, and it's real nice to share it with you.
It's actually worked for those three.
Those two.
Well, that one was for Jackie. Thank you very much for everybody from back home for posting so many nice messages and stuff about her. It's been a real interesting couple days hearing everybody's stories about Jackie Cook. So we'll get into that next week. So I know that you can play country music, and I've seen you sort of delve into other things. One of the things that you do is that I've seen you do a lot of is pedal steel substitution.
Well, it's the feel of the steel guitar that makes that I feel that thing that happens with a steel guitar player that gives you shivers and stuff like that, or chicken skin as they say in Europe. But yeah, so that feel of things, it feels so important to everything.
Yeah,
It's
and
really important.
listening to the feel.
And it should be natural, and it
Yeah.
just happens, I guess. Yeah.
The guys like Al Brisco, I got to know Al. I played steel for a while. I didn't play it. Like most things, I butchered it. I took a 12-string Universal, plugged it into a big old trainer with two 15-inch speakers in it, and Mr. Grant played bass, and we had a rock and roll drummer, and I just put it into a distortion box And just, I used it as a songwriter would. I just played the chords, but I mean big 12-string chords
Oh,
with the
yeah.
bar. And then I got into a little bit of soloing. It was a lot of fun, but I got to know Al doing that. And Al's one of those guys, yeah, like, I don't know what it is about that machine that gives you such shivers, as you say, but it really does, doesn't it?
Al Brisco, I've been all over the world, and every steel player in the world knows, oh, you're from Canada, you must know Al Brisco, of course. And yeah, the steel guitar world is very small. I mean, it's far away, but it's knitted together. You know,
Yeah.
they all know each other. It's great.
Yeah, it's a great world. I've dipped my toe in it and looked around, and I've listened a lot, and I had a lot of fun with the instrument. But it broke my back singing and playing. I was singing, so I steel bar clamped, both feet floating and legs moving and singing. And after about a year of it with Mr. Grant, I said, I can't do it anymore. Like, my back is hurt. My back is broken. So we stopped that.
I played steel with the band and guitar, sitting down with the steel in front of me, for about half a year or 9 months, something like that. And then I put the steel away again, just for weight. There's a lot of stuff to carry. When you're young, you can handle it. When you're like 40 and under that, you're okay, I think. You know, you get older, it's kind of smaller amps, smaller PA,
Yeah, in-ears, no more monitors.
little steel guitars, you know.
Lighter strings.
Yeah. Lighter strings.
Did I mention we were doing a song? I did, didn't I? Or did I not? No, I didn't. I was going for this brilliant sort of segue, which now I've totally lost, and that's the norm here. So, so I'd like you to play along with the song. This is a song I wrote for my wife Allison, who you met tonight. Allison's in the other room watching. Hey, love. And a few years back, a long time ago, 2012 maybe, she was still teaching, and I was still touring a lot. But when I was home, I was on the night schedule, and I'd go to my studio, which was in the room above here, at night, and she'd go to sleep, and she'd go to school, and I'd go to bed. When I was home, that was kind of it. But one night she said to me, she said, "Why have you never written me a song?" And I thought, that's a terrible question. So that night, she went to sleep, and I came over to the studio, and I wrote this song, and we play it and dedicate it to her quite often. But I'm really interested to hear what your take on something like this would be. What are we in here? We're in C minor, right?
That's right.
So that's E flat major. So it's now you've got to remember, folks, this is all live, and Steve has never played with us before. None of this is rehearsed, so with a little bit of explanation will go along. There's kind of an ethereal, groovy intro part that goes on for a while. Neil does a little bit of noodling here and there. Mr. Grant gets groovy on the bass, and then it kind of falls apart as I start to sing the song. The first verse is one of those verses that I find I need to settle into, so I always do a little bit of on my own, and then once I get that established after 2 to 6 bars, everybody kind of chimes in, and the song just chucks from there.
Excellent.
I'm really interested to hear what you would do this. Just catching up with you there. That wasn't even close to the way it's supposed to go. Interesting. It had nothing to do with Steve.
Oh,
It never does.
it's never
Sun goes down over Wichita Falls. I've seen the best and I've seen them all. At days and nothing more beautiful to see. You're in your hair and you drape your clothes
The sun lights your silhouette shape exposed, it's clear you're bringing out the best in me. Why do you wanna waste your time with me? Why you wanna waste your time with me? Morning breaks, I haven't slept all night. The sunlight warms to your skin's delight. I'm dying, I'm dying, just to sit here and watch you breathe. Pressed to your chest lies a mother's joy. Dreams, little dreams of a little boy. This feels like a luck I can't believe. Why you wanna waste your time with me? Why you wanna waste your time with me? It's been 10 years or maybe 12, and we've had some times that have felt like hell, but you held your ground. You stayed strong and true for me. And the good times far outweigh the bad, and the happiness outweighs the sad. There's just one question here, my friends agree. Why you wanna waste your time with me? Why you wanna waste your time with me? Now the years have passed, they've grown and gone, and all I can do is sing this song in a voice that cracks, melody carefree. On the porch we sit as the sun fades away. We wave to the neighbors across the way. I still can't believe you did all this with me. And you say, you wanna waste some time with me? Do you wanna waste some time with me? Do you want to waste some time with me? Do you wanna waste some time with me? Well, that's interesting. That kind of answers the question.
Nice too.
Yeah, once I figured out what I was doing there. But that's some really neat stuff. It's interesting how, you add an element to a structure and it changes things. And it's like, okay, now, and you just kind of step aside around, and it's very, very neat. So you were doing a lot of volume work there, right? Is that how you're getting that sort of low chordal feel? Yeah.
I have a delay on as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just some swells and stuff in the background. There's no real picking stuff. I guess you could.
Well, you could,
I
but
think
I
if
mean,
we
this
played
is appropriate, right?
If we played this again, it'd be totally different. I'd probably play it totally different. Nothing what I did last time.
Yeah, I play exactly the same because I'm pretty dumb. So.
It's good to know.
Yes, there are people who play things exactly the same. I'm actually very fluid with my approach, depending on what I hear and what other people are doing. And if there's a slight feel change, it can just changes everything that I'm doing as well. That was a really neat thing. The other thing I wanted to point out, and again, I asked you about this earlier, but so you've got your pickups hardwired to an on-off switch.
Yep.
And then the on-off switch goes directly
right
out
to the output.
Right to the output. So you're avoiding your tone and volume controls altogether.
Yeah, I used to have to replace my volume pot and my tone pot if it went, and I always use them full up anyway. So I just cut them out It avoids having to keep buying pots for your guitar.
So obviously you're not one of those pinky guys who does all the rollaway swells and the volume and tone swells with their pinky.
Well, tone. I guess I would if I had one, but I never used it much. No, I use the volume pedals, so that's kind of handy. Saves me having to do the volume.
And does it change the way the guitar hits an amp, or the way the signal hits a processor?
I think it's there's probably a few little, I don't know what you call them, that are hooked up to your volume to make it a volume, and tones that maybe, I don't know if it takes away from the tone or adds high end or bass or whatever it does, but this is just direct, so it avoids all that. I don't know.
It's just what you've
I've
done.
I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
That way, so
It's what you know, and you obviously, it's not like people are complaining because you're not using a tone switch.
Not yet.
Would it be a good song? You have a band, South Mountain, that you've been with for since
'89.
'89, that's right.
South Mountain.
And you guys do amazing things. Actually, there's I shouldn't say you guys. I'm still getting used to making that discretion on myself. So apologize. You folks, there's a lady fiddle player, isn't there?
Lindsay Beckett has played with us probably for 10 years of South Mountain's life.
Okay.
For sure. And there's been quite a few player changes in the band. The original band probably had the most radio success until '96, when we just started going live, playing live, and just selling our CDs at the concerts and that, and we did very well doing that. I was a little bit tired of being called too country. It was like an electric bluegrass band. It's with real country music, like 4/4 shuffles and all this Fair and Young stuff done with authenticity,
Yeah.
And so, anyways, radios. So I just wanted to save some money. Don't waste my time sending it to radio stations that would say we're too country, So, anyways, and I love all those guys. I've probably met most of them all across the country because we did radio interviews and TV stuff. Every gig we would do, we would run into these fellows, and some of them are really good guys, like Derek Corchega out there in Cranbrook, BC. He was up in Timmins. We spent 3 hours recording with him while going live, and he would play it after, like weeks after and stuff. But there were some great times with radio.
Yeah, well,
With South Mountain, we don't play a lot together, especially in Canada. Our last tour we did was in Europe in 19, I think it was. Or was it 20? Whenever things started to shut down there, that's when we just finished a tour, and I think it was October 3 years ago. And that was our last tour that we did in Europe. And I think it's time to go back now. But,
Yeah, I think everybody's just itching to get going back again, doing something, something anyways. But sorry, folks, Jack's come in to say hi here. He's down below me. He wanted to make a little appearance.
You took a nice couple steps on your pedal there.
Yeah,
Did he change
it?
We'll find out, won't we?
probably fix my sound.
The tone that you've been working your life at. Okay, Jack, is that good? You gonna go back in and see Mommy? Sit on the couch? Yeah, I'm gonna send you going. Stop scratching me. Come on. Oh, there you go. Stop stepping on stuff now. You just gave me an extra delay. So, one of the things that South Mountain do really well that I enjoy listening to, and I've never really been a part of anything that does it before, is that sort of very fast, when you guys, like One Way Rider, for example.
Yeah.
Like, where does that fall in the spectrum of, genres, and where did it start, and that you know of?
Well, I first heard it by Ricky Skaggs off his Highways and Heartaches album, I think, and in 1980, 81. But it's a Rodney Crowell song. Albert Lee is a great guitar player. We've done work with him, and Clayton, New York. We backed him up for a show he did at this little theater It was fun, and but he cut it once or twice, and it's just a great tune. It's there's only 2 chords in it, C and F, and everybody gets to play. You know, it's a lot of fun.
When was the last time you played that? Like in performance
Probably
mode?
Sunday.
Sunday?
Sunday up in Munster, Ontario.
In Munster. What were you doing in Munster on Sunday?
Munster Hamlet. I was playing. It was like an open mic jam thing, but it was fun. There was all kinds of. There was folk artists. There was rock guys and blues guys, and country as well. There was, and I got to play with them all. It was fun. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, do you want to do a little cycle of One Way Rider?
Sure. We can try that.
So this is just the straight pattern all the way through. Right?
Yeah. We'll probably and we'll add it after I sing it twice. We'll probably finish out with the verse in the one. I'll play it, and then we'll just keep going to the 4 after every at the end, and then when I finish it, we'll do the ending.
Okay.
And it won't be 8 or 9 minutes like it normally would be.
Well, in all honesty, at the speeds, I'm not sure how fast you're going to bring this in, but in all honesty, trying to kind of keep up with some of those speeds for 8 or 9 minutes is that takes a lot of practice.
I'll start her comfortably at this age. Okay, here we go.
Suits me.
One way down the road. Baby, I'm right beside you everywhere you go. Once upon a victim, circumstances too came to take a hold on everything you do. First we follow leaders, next we follow fools, now we follow footsteps sneaking up on you. One-way rider, one way down the road. Baby, I'm right beside you everywhere you go. Yeah, I'm a one-way rider, one way down the road. Baby, I'm right beside you everywhere you go.
slow version.
Thanks, Neil. That was a slow version.
I know.
That is so much fun to sit next to somebody who can do that stuff.
Good job, guys. That's great.
I've worked with there's a fiddle player that we worked with for a while named Luke Mercier. I don't know if you know Luke or not.
I know his name.
He builds fiddles and banjos out of Springfield.
Springbrook.
Springbrook? Okay.
Yeah. And he's a big time, old time fiddle player, and we jammed a lot with him. And he'd get the tempos going. And it was just, I used to watch him and thinking, why are there so many notes and
He
there's so
played
little
mandolin as well, I think, doesn't
He
he?
played mandolin as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And guitar. And piano.
Oh my. That was smoking good fun. Oh my lord.
That was a blast.
I didn't set up the message board chat tonight because I forgot, in all honesty. But I'm sure you're all out there and having fun. Our guest tonight is Mr. Steve Petico, from originally from Toronto.
Originally
Originally
from East
from
York, yeah.
From East York. And now you are living in...
Well, I moved in
Right.
'78 up to Ottawa. Lived in South Mountain, Ontario for 18 years, which is where the band name came from. My ex-wife named the band.
That's right. I remember hearing that story.
Yeah. And then I moved to Brighton via Milton. I was only there for a month or something. Then I moved to Brighton. Here I am. Met my current wife, Spike. And yeah.
Spike, that's an awfully cool name.
It is. She's named after a baseball player or a catcher named Spike Owens, because she was a good catcher
There you go.
playing baseball when she was a kid. So
Spike
her
Owens.
dad named her.
That's very cool. Yeah, Spike, that's a great name. I like people with interesting names. I find Ken, it's just, I don't think, maybe people don't like their own names, maybe that's what it is, but it just seems like the most bland. Or, it's like, well, we've got Barbie, what's her boyfriend's name going to be? Oh, Ken. And it's like,
Sounds like a perfect name to me.
but with the Ken doll, it's nothing about like beauty or anything, it's just like Barbie's boyfriend. Anyways, that's the name of Ken, that's how I deal with that. But Spike, that's cool. And you're down there now, and
Yeah.
what does a week in the life of Steve Petico look like these days?
I have a friend.
Stan Lee?
He's just throwing his toy around.
Just throwing his toy around, he's gonna knock over a mic or something.
I'd be doing the same thing if I wasn't playing this guitar.
No, you can't have it.
Well, I'm detailing cars, and we're doing ceramic coating and stuff with a buddy of mine, Scott McLean. And he's on Lisgar Road, just east of Brighton. He's east of where I am, about a kilometer. And so I can walk to work if I want, or take my old
That's
rusty
all right.
van.
Yeah. Either of those choices seems pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And what do you? And how did you get into doing that? Is this a?
2 Octobers ago, I went to say hi to him. I just dropped in the shop because he used to be my financial advisor with Sun Life, and so we became friends. And his wife sings, Debbie. She does a lot of gospel stuff, and I've done some shows with her and her friends. And so I went to say hi, and he says, I can't get anybody to work. And I said, well, if you ever need a hand, he says, I'll see you at 9 tomorrow. So I've been there ever since. When I'm playing the guitar, though, it's first, I guess.
Yeah, if you get a call for a tour or a gig or a session or
Yeah,
something.
he understands totally.
Yeah. And you play a lot locally. It seems like every time there's a jam happening, you're showing up and playing. And
Yeah, if there's ever an opportunity to play, I'd rather play than sit on my hands,
that's cool. Yeah.
Because we just did 2 years of that, and that's no life. Let's just keep playing.
Yeah.
This is great what you guys are doing.
Oh well, it's kept us sane. It
Yeah.
really has. Even when the bubble thing happened, it's like, okay, well, if we all just are careful, we can be our own bubble and still make music and do this. So
It's amazing.
it was really lucky, and a great bunch of guys too. Where the four of us have come together, including Barry. Now the five of us have come together very organically, just through proximity, and it's amazing what people give up to play music. Neil gave up his whole company and life to come play music with us. He used to be working 60 hours a week and be a big CEO, and he gave all that up so he could come play music with us.
I didn't. I gave it up because I was 69 and I was sick and tired of working.
It gets to be a point where you are a little sick and tired of working.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're never too old for music, man.
Absolutely.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neil's first time on stage was only 2 years ago? No. How many?
4 years ago.
COVID, right, yeah. COVID sort of adds 2 years to everything in my brain.
That's right.
Yeah, Neil's a newcomer to it. Mr. Grant's been doing it for ever.
A while.
A while, yeah. I remember asking Mr. Grant once when we were first getting to know each other. I said, "So what did you used to do like before?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, before, like before you."
What was your job?
What was your job? And he kind of went, "Well, I'm a bass player."
I just play bass. I don't know.
I thought that was the coolest answer ever. That was pretty cool. I don't know many people who say that. And then Steve came to town a few years ago with his wife and little kids. 6 years ago. And just kind of by happenstance showed up at the pub, and told me he was a musician. I said, "Well, next time you're around, bring a snare drum." He's been here ever since. Yeah, it's a nice organic thing, and it's I love playing music. I would live on the road playing music night after night if my life allowed it. But it doesn't, and this is the next best thing, I think.
It's so convenient, like living in Toronto, playing tons of bands and stuff. I never had a jam space, a place to play this close. Like I live across the field,
Yeah,
across the high school field, just over there. So I just come over, and it's amazing.
yeah, it's pretty damn crazy.
Helps it's a small town, and there's not much.
Let me grab this piece of paper.
So we've got so tonight Jack for some reason is not in bed with Mom. I'm not sure. He must have jumped down to get a drink, and now he's driving us all crazy.
This has been the most dog action we've ever had.
I know. There's like usually Stanley, and that's it.
Yeah, he usually just lays here and goes to sleep.
I was thinking about a Ron Hynes tune. Would be really cool to do. Did you know Ron Hynes as a musician at all?
Yes.
Did you?
I was listening to a showcase at CCMA Week, Country Music Week, I don't know, 25 years ago, and he hits me in the back, and he goes, "How many versions of that song have you played on?" And they were playing Sonny's Dream.
Oh.
And he goes, "Ron Hynes." I didn't know, when he said Ron Hynes, I knew who wrote it, but I didn't know him until he, mentioned to me, because I played on a lot of versions of that song with various artists.
Interesting. Well, Ron was I'm from Newfoundland. I don't know if you know that. And I knew Ron through Newfoundland. And I played bass with him the last few years before he died. Did a great Arts and Culture Center tour with him, all 12 shows across the island, just me and him. Got to know him really well. And when he died, I did a tribute album to him. I did 11 of his songs, a collection of his songs, and did it with this band, plus Ken Kelly on guitar, and Luke played some fiddle, and some of Ron's musicians, Paul Kinsman, Sandy Morris, Amelia Curran sang on it. So it was a really nice thing to do. So we always, part of what we do is make sure that we keep the memory of Ron Hynes alive, so we'd like to play a song, at least one of his songs every week. I didn't realize that you'd actually played on Sunny, but that makes sense, yeah. How many records have you played on, do you think?
I probably have 1,000 or so CDs and cassettes and albums at home that I played on, and I don't have half of what I played on.
Yeah, wow.
I did a lot of work with Randall Prescott. We cut many records, CBC, and there's been a bunch I played on. Yeah.
It's a staggering number.
Jeez, I'm gonna get busy.
Yeah. It's a staggering number of records.
You'll catch up. You got a minute? Okay, Neil.
Well, we might grab a version of Sunny later, just for because that's one that we do all the time. We do a fair bit of Ron's, sort of hidden catalog stuff.
Okay.
And one of the songs that we do that I thought would really be nice for you to play on is a song called Judgement that Ron wrote on an album called Stealing Genius. It was all the songs on the album were inspired by playwrights, novelists, or poets. So he'd read a book and then he'd write a song based on that book, and so that's where the title came from. But so yeah, this is key of
G, B minor. I'm not really sure what
yeah,
it is. I think
it's a B minor to F. But he switches them back and forth. You will catch it and hear it. I would say it's in the key of D, but nobody
means
would
G, right?
understand
Because he's
that.
got the capo on the second. Pick that up. You said B minor F. You meant B minor G.
Yes. Right.
Oh yeah, I did on the G.
Aggressive, yes.
Yeah, I know.
Guess he's up to friends.
Bass players, you'll never knock the sense into us.
I'm sitting right where I can see your fingers, so that helps me. It does.
Yeah, good.
Even though there's a capo there. It's okay.
See, in my mind as a bass player, I see this song in D major, but it's actually B minor, and Mr. Grant always thinks of it in G. So it's a weird, but Ron also plays with the majors and minors throughout. Anyways, you'll get it. I have full faith in you. How are you doing, Neil?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, good.
Appearances to the contrary.
Yeah. I got a whole world of judgment on me now. Well, I am cursed and called a craving coward, this I will avow. Well, I treasure my notoriety. I'm the man no man wants to see. Still, it's better to be famous for the wrong I've done tonight than to be nobody all my life. And fame. Now I'm the man. I shot and I killed Jesse James. Everybody knows me now for sure. Every meal's a feast, every embrace is a whore, and it's better to be famous for the wrong I've done tonight than to be nobody all my life. Forever in my dreams, I love how you can adapt so quickly to that stuff, man. That's pretty heavy playing. That's pretty heavy playing. Has anybody ever told you that?
I think we have to be chameleons, pretty much. So we listen and fit into the best we know to what's going on around us, right? The best players are listeners, for sure.
Yeah,
Especially when you're winging stuff, which is kind of like the story of my life. And I go into a session and I remember there being like a black line of notes on this sheet, this chart that was made for this session. So thankfully my good friend Don Reed was there, and I went, "Hey Don, psst, come here, play this for me." He plays it. Okay, and I got it. Okay. then we started the session. It was fine. So he showed me what the notes were, because it was crazy. I don't read notes. I read national number charts and stuff like that. Like what's on the wall here. It's excellent for a couple of my tunes, I guess.
threw a few charts on the wall there, so
I
you
better
remember
not
the
look
charts.
at that. Might throw me off. Yeah.
It'll throw you off.
Yeah. They're great.
Yeah, it's I have in the past worked in classical environments. I've worked a lot with Brian Finley over at West Bend, working on like Bach arrangements and stuff. And I've got to say, the people who read are different musicians than people who don't read. They can all be equal and meet in the same place, of course, but it's such a different approach. I love working in that world with Brian because he has such a different language than I do. Somehow he can understand a lot of my language.
Yeah.
I don't. Sometimes he says things. I'm like, what does that mean?
I would love to be able to do both. I just haven't had time. I've been really busy over just playing. The phone rings, play there, play here, play. I gotta really look at my book and go, okay, I gotta book sleep time because I was so busy for 25 years or more, and so I've had no time for anything. You learn everything as you go. Okay, you're thrown into a studio with a bunch of guys, and boom, it's got to happen, right?
Yeah,
it's like kind of like we're doing tonight. Sort of thing. It's all
you
the
know,
same.
Yeah, it's just another night of getting, like you say, here's some musicians, here it is, it's happening, go make it happen. It's living the life of a pro musician where you're constantly in that environment is such a luxury. Yeah, it is a luxury. A lot when you think about it. A lot of the musicians that I know that don't have music as a career, but they are still musicians. Over the course of their lifetime, thus we're now in our mid-50s, most of us. Some of them have played with sort of 3 to 5 bands in that time. And you think about sort of what they've done and they've learned, and then you consider somebody like yourself, like in the same period of how many bands would you be a part of? It would be in the thousands at this point, right?
Well, as far as people goes, I would say, artists,
But learning how to fit in that consistently with you mostly use the same guitar?
Mostly, yeah. I do have I got a Gibson Les Paul. I got a Music Man Silhouette, which is my Strat pretty much, because I don't have a Strat, but it's the sound. So, and I play a couple other instruments, dobro and some, bunch of stuff. Bass is my favorite instrument, though.
Oh, really?
I think it's the most important thing in the world.
Well, yeah.
You know it, Ken.
Preaching to the converted.
Sorry about all the wrong notes.
No, it's great. There's no empty spots. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think the bass is such a fundamental. It took me a long time because I had only played bass all my life, and then I wanted to sing and play guitar and started to learn guitar and learn how to use my voice differently than I would as a backup singer. And for a bunch of years, all my trios and stuff, I wouldn't have a bass player because I couldn't find anybody that would do kind of what I would hear. And then this guy walked into my life, and I heard him playing, and I just went, this guy does exactly what I would do. It's fantastic. And if he doesn't, I tell him what to do, and then he does that. So
it works. Communication's very important.
Communication, exactly. No, it's been such a joy having Mr. Grant in my life. Bass player was a hard one to fill for somebody who only did it for over 2 decades. There's a song that you sing. Was it No Hard Times or the Kentuckian? Which one did we do earlier that we were just sort of talking about? Or did we do either of them?
No, we didn't do any of them.
No, we didn't.
But
I think we kind of sat down and got tuned up.
I was working once with Mac Wiseman. I was with the Family Brown, and their band was Stan Paul Rogers on bass and Bill Crothers on drums and myself on guitar. So they needed us to back up at Waterloo University, I think it was. I don't know. So we did a couple dates with them, and I said, "Do you still do the Kentuckian song?" to Mac, and he goes, "Man, I haven't done that since I cut it in '56." I said, "Well, I'm still doing it." I said, "I still have the 78 RPM record in 3 pieces, so I haven't heard it for a while." And he kind of laughed. That was it. He didn't do the song, but it was. I wanted to know if he was still doing it, because he recorded it with a kind of a choir at the beginning with a big "I see my darling" in that high voice he has. And yeah, but I do that one.
You want to take a walk through that with us?
Yeah.
So again, we're this is this is impromptu as always. So exciting! I know Neil is excited as hell.
Sure am.
Neil's one of the most pedantic people I've ever met when it comes to routine and knowing what's about to happen.
Yeah.
He's so excited.
And if it wasn't for you, you would never be able to get down the road in one piece.
I know. Yeah, so let's try the Kentuckian,
Try that one.
which I spelt wrong on the looks like spell check. Turned that to Kentucking.
Kentucky.
The Kentucking song. That's probably the first time you've seen it spelled out like that on a
That's
sound list.
more of a verb.
Yeah.
Or a noun. It's a noun.
I'd say so.
It's a noun there.
It's all about Kentucky.
I guess. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. This is in D, and it goes to the A for the bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the. Yeah. 3, 4, 1. Well, I see my darling in each rail. Summer sunlight. I see my darling in the leaves that fall. I've seen her walking in the rainy April sadness, and hear her name in every bluebird call. I've told the possum in the gum tree, the raccoon on the ground, I've told everyone but my darling of the happiness I found. My heart would cry more than the weeping willow tree if my darling and her heart were not for me. I've told the possum in the gum tree, the raccoon on the ground, I've told everyone but my darling of the happiness I found. My heart would cry more than the weeping willow tree. If my darling and her heart were not for me, my heart would cry more than the weeping willow tree. If my darling and her heart were not for me.
Very nice. That was a sweet little moment there. I quite like that. Wow, it's so nice to have you here, man. Oh, what a thrill for us. I can't tell you how much this means. This is just great. This is just great. Really cool. Yeah.
I'm enjoying it myself. Yes.
It's so.
Do possums and raccoons get along, or is there like
I think they probably have
battle
to.
underneath there going on in the undergrowth?
That's
They
what
hang out
I
in
was
the,
asking the other night when we listened through the song.
they hang out in the same places.
They do.
Yeah.
I thought they kind of got it backwards in the song because usually the possums are on the ground and the raccoons are in the trees. But what do I know, right?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you're obviously not from Kentucky.
That's
Obviously
true.
not.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Do possums hang by their tail and go to sleep like a bat? Sort of.
Yeah.
Well, a bat hangs by his claw.
They walk around with babies hanging out. That's a crazy sight to see that.
Never seen it.
Yeah, I've seen in Toronto. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, with
walking across-
raccoons
No, the
Oh,
possums.
possums.
Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
have like 6 babies like
hanging off.
hanging on the belly.
That's creepy.
Pretty cool.
That's creepy.
It's creepy. They're creepy looking actually.
Yeah.
Oh, you just lost
Oh,
Jillian as a
tasty
friend.
What's that?
Tasty though.
I said you just lost Jillian as a friend.
Oh,
She thinks they're really
they're
cute.
cute.
Yeah.
Good eat.
There's something wrong with my daughter.
My sister takes in baby raccoons and like
Raccoons-
houses them till they're
They are.
adults, and then lets them go, and then they're
Oh,
And then they chew the heck out of
in
car
St. Thomas,
tires.
Ontario.
Oh.
Yeah. But that's she's also that's kind of her only friends. She doesn't have a lot of people in her life that like her. I'm just kidding, Paula. I love you.
I was gonna say you're getting a phone call.
Oh my. Oh wow, that's got me. We're just having such a good time here. How we doing on time there, Barry? What time of the day are we at?
8:57.
We're doing fine. We got at least a song left, or 5. Okay. There was a couple. Let me do a little George Jones.
George.
Yeah. We do. When my kids were young, I'd left kind of commercial rock, and was sort of just getting into doing solo singer-songwriters thing, playing across the country back and forth in coffee shops for a couple people here and there. And I didn't decide, my family decided it'd be cool if in the summertime we did some camping trips. So we actually bought an RV. My wife was the teacher, so I'd pick her and the girls up, and we would go out for the summer and come back as school started. And we lived in the RV, and I toured around playing songs. And it was a great load of fun. But while we were traveling, the girls had us listening to Miley Cyrus and all of that stuff, because of course that's what they were into. Mm-hmm. So we came up with a bit of a trade-off system. If I listened to a full Miley Cyrus album, they'd had to listen to a George Jones or a Bob Dylan album.
Cool.
And by the time those summers were done, they knew like the first 3 Bob Dylan records. They know every word, which is pretty cool. And they always loved the Fred Flintstone song from George Jones, "King Is Gone." So we've kind of adapted a little version of it that we do, and it starts with a bit of Cherokee, which I'd love to hear you. What are the chords in Cherokee? I know how to play it, but I'm just trying to think what the chords are. This is
It starts on an A and then goes to an F sharp minor, and then there's a D and an E, and then back
There's
to
an
the
F
G.
sharp minor?
Yeah. The second chord is an F sharp minor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That's D, A, E, A. All the way through.
Cool. Anyways, we usually just do a little thing through it, and then we get into some George Jones. So why don't you do your thing and interpret as needed?
Okay. Yeah.
Steve, whenever you're ready.
All right. 1, 2, 1, 2,
Last night I broke the seal on a Jim Beam decanter that looked like Elvis. Took the label off a Flintstone jelly bean jar. I put us up a place on that one little table it's incredible watching your hand. Most of the amazing bass players I know, and I know more of it about bass players than I do about guitar players, because I've watched bass players for so many years. I only started watching guitar players recently. But the guys who are really know what they're doing and doing really technically precise stuff, it hardly looks like they're moving. And I see that when I'm watching you two, and even from behind it, like all I just see is the fingers and the neck, and it's just like nothing's moving, but there's all these things happening. Is it your economy of motion approach, or is it a note approach? I know you've talked about the cage system before. Is it actually the cage system you're using?
People call it different things.
Okay.
And I look at it, well, there's my capo, and it comes with me whether it's there or invisible, and everything's open in my brain. And so every open chord that I've learned is all the way up the neck. So whatever key it's in, it's somewhere up here. No matter what position, whether it's G position, you know, like, or C, you know, you can do Wildwood Flower in C sharp if you want. I gotta tune it, but that's your capo pretty much, and it's probably called the cage system, as you say.
Well, what I was curious about, like when you say everything is open, so like, you know, if you're playing in F major there, right? And using a C position on your capo, that would be capoed 5th fret, where you'd play sorry, was I doing that right? No, sorry, 4th fret. Get into the F. Now, when you do that, are you always thinking C, G, D, or are you thinking, like, if you're playing a D but you know that you've got your pinky on, or your capo on the 2nd fret, are you thinking then that's an E formation, or are you still thinking D form? Or are you thinking that way at all?
I think of position, and it doesn't matter what key it is.
Okay.
To me, it's just positions. You know, all relative keys, there's your 3 minor and your 6 and your 2, and every key can fit together, right, at some point. But you're within a note of anything to be close. Right?
Interesting, yeah.
So, and I'm not just winging my, you know, I have I guess a thought process that happens that you want to make it real tasty and fit. So it's got to do that, you know. Yeah.
It's an interesting approach, and it's it definitely works.
It's working.
It's working, yeah. I'd stick with it if I was you.
I played for 20 years and didn't even know anything about theory, really, and still I don't play much different now, except I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing, you know. Before it was just, and now it still is repetitiveness as well. So if you've played something, you've probably played it before. It might be different phrasing or something, but it's to fit into the song and make it. You're complementing the lead, whatever it is happening, whether it be a singer or an instrumentalist. You don't want to be in the way. I learned that the hard way. It was funny. I was playing Harold McIntyre. I was playing with Harold McIntyre back. He's a country guy, and a very good one. Back before he had records out and stuff, in '78, I think. And we're playing at a Woodshed Tavern up in north of Toronto somewhere, King City or something. And I'm playing all through his singing. He's singing out front, and then it's break time, and I go do my solo, and there's no difference. And he leans over to me and says, "My, you play fast." And then he went back to playing. That's it. He doesn't even remember doing it, but I thank him every time I see him for that. So now I know when not to play, which is very important, most important.
It's one of the hardest things, I think, for a lot of players.
Yeah.
A lot of players.
When you're young, and I was 17 at the time, so you're a young hot dog, and you're wanting to play everything, you know, to learn everything really fast, and you're just playing, and you're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or play over their singing or be rude or anything, but you learn that, and if you can learn, the younger you can learn it, the better. When not to play.
It should almost be sort of like in every lesson or tutorial or printed piece of paper about how to tune your guitar, there should be just like a 2-sentence thing, you know, that says, you know, listen to what the other band members are doing. Don't make noise when somebody else is speaking or singing or soloing. You know, like it should be as essential as tuning.
There's one thing to say it and then one thing to know it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when I'm playing with a band or whatever, I'm listening to the groove, I'm listening to the hats, I'm listening to the kick, I'm listening to every little thing that happens. If there were two acoustic guitar players, I'd want to know what lefty and righty's doing. You know, in the pan spectrum thing, whatever. I listen to music like that.
At what point did you consciously realize that you listened to music like that, or did you always do it? Because for me, it was a learned experience.
I think I've always listened to it like that. When I was sitting in the rocking chair, grooving to the music of the 8 tracks my mom and dad had back in the 60s, 70s. I'd listen to everything. Like I couldn't believe the hi-hats in Wolverton Mountain. You know, Willie Cantu is a great drummer. I've met him in Nashville. I've jammed with him a few times, but he was Buck Owens' drummer with a really unique hi-hat. I just love his hats because he used them differently, you know. And that was Buck Owens' sound.
Oh, well, I didn't know who the drummer was, but I mean, yeah, we listened to a fair bit of Buck back in the kitchen after that show. Yeah, that's very neat. I listened to music. I mean, I remember, you know, sort of being a teenager and like having being over at a friend's house with a really nice pair of stereo headphones. You know, this was in the 80s and the 70s when I was a kid. Like, music was like, we didn't experience it the way that, you know, we do now. But my friend had some headphones. I remember listening and thinking, oh my God, I hear so much, you know. Yeah. But it didn't really become a regular thing for me until later in life. Like, after I had been a musician for a while, it was just sort of, I think maybe the recording process, working with some producers who really understood how music worked.
That would bring it out.
Yeah, it definitely sort of tailored that, but it's interesting. Yeah, I love the discovery of that sonic spectrum, especially with good headphones nowadays.
My first time with headphones, I couldn't believe it. Wow, I can hear the hats. I can hear everything, man.
You can hear everything. Everything has its place. It's just amazing. It's amazing how many people listen to their... I do it too. I'll say to somebody, have you ever heard this song? And I get out my phone and I press play. And I'm like, what am I doing? Nobody can enjoy a song like this, but people...
They're not even hearing the bass. Is there bass guitar in that?
Yeah.
I've got bass woofers in every room in my house. I do. Just so I can crank it up. And...
Yeah.
Well, I have 3 of them.
Yeah.
But...
Well, when I got my stereo going, these 2 speakers here, that's the most of the high end, and then right behind you here, this is what the low end goes through. So,
nice.
Yeah.
That's a wall of 810s there. Wow.
That's my travel rig.
Nice.
Yeah, and that produces a nice low end.
I think my bass cabinet is 2 10s.
2 10s, yeah.
But it works.
2 10s is great.
Yeah, multiples of anything I think will work, but 10s are nice for bass, I think.
Yeah. We've been experiencing, because we work with Traynor and Long and McQuaid, so they've been sending us a lot of stuff, and they've been sending us these micro amps. 200 watt bass amp as big as a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And we've tried them, like plugging them into the cabinets. It was like, this actually sounds friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
Little 25 watt guitar amp.
Yeah.
This big, you plug into it, it's a sort of sag tone.
So it's got the power of 25 watts.
Yeah.
Or whatever, yeah.
And there's a 25 watt and a 50 watt dual channel one. And I tell you, you plug them into a 212 or even just into the board, and they sound pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Like for moving around these days, so what a treat that is. I still like a speaker and a mic, but I mean, that's, you know.
Yeah, it's nice to have air.
It is. It is. What time check there, Barry? We're at about 10 after 9?
9:15.
9:15, okay. We're going to drop 2 more on you here. I'm thinking now, I really enjoy this Ramblin. Is that the acoustic guitar one that just kind of wanders?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you play that on this, or do you want an acoustic, or?
Doesn't matter.
There's a 51 J45 there. It's not in tune with dead strings on it.
Dead strings, yeah.
But it wouldn't take long.
Well, I'll play it on here.
We'll play it on that.
Then I can use my delay.
I really kind of like the groove in this one. This is very different for... Now, is this a South Mountain piece, or is this a...
No,
What is this? Who's this one from?
This is on Don Williams' Harmony album from 1973, I guess. But I am Don Williams' biggest fan, I think, since the early 70s when he come out, when he quit the Pozo Seco Singers and went on his own. And I even had a chance to go and jam with him, and I turned it down. It's weird. I was shy.
You too shy, yeah.
Real shy, yeah. But I was his biggest fan then, you know. I've talked to his drummer in Nashville and stuff, Steve Turner. Can't remember. He's about 6'9". Anyways, I said, "How you been doing? Who you been playing with lately?" And he goes, "Well, I'm playing with Dolly Parton and Don Williams." And I went, "Don Williams? He's my dream gig, man." He says, "I'm gonna have to tell him that." And I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but Don's gone.
Still
I know.
waiting.
Hope you get a call on that one.
He never called me. But that's been a gig I wanted forever, is Don Williams. I didn't try real hard to get
I was just
it.
gonna say, did you do any forward momentum to make that happen aside from intentioning?
No. I did stay home one night and I was thinking, what am I going to do tonight? I want to hear somebody pick. So the next day, I get a call from a friend of mine. He goes, "Wow, you should have heard Don Williams at the Iron Horse in Kingston last night. He was great." And I went, "What?" You know. So he was there. I definitely would have met him then, for sure. Kingston's only an hour, so it's nothing for me. But anyhow, that was funny. So Ramblin', this is an instrumental. I took my flat top. I have a Hopkins flat top. Jim Hopkins made it, and it's got the thinnest top on it that you ever seen. So it projects. And it's a really great guitar. You know, I've jammed with 12 banjos at the Bluegrass Awards, and it cuts over the 12 banjos.
Wow.
It's flat top. It's great. And
That's unbelievable. I mean, that really
because
is
it's hard to
unbelievable.
hear, and they're all wailing away while I was playing, and it cut, you know, with no mics or anything. But anyways, so I grabbed my Hopkins, and we're doing a South Mountain record about, I don't know, 6 or 8 records ago, and I just started playing. I don't even know what the mic was. It could have been a 57. I'm not sure, but it sounded really good in the headphones, so I just started playing this.
It's such a pretty song. That brought me back to when I first heard it. I don't know if you ever heard of a band called Shadowfax. They were around the 80s. They were kind of a...
Andy Thompson.
Was Andy with Shadowfax?
I think
Oh,
so.
I think he was.
Posted all over his studio. With
Might be a
him.
different Shadowfax. Like they were like sort of a synthy keyboard, organic, groovy thing.
I've actually never heard them, but just being at his studio, I see.
It's interesting if
him
Andy
in
was
the
in
photos.
Shadowfax. I gotta check that out. It might be a different Shadowfax.
I'm gonna stop there on the way home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just got a power supply that I left at Victoria Hall in Coburg.
Oh, yeah.
No. Andy's a great
Anyways,
guy.
that's it.
You've done a lot of work at Studio 29 there, right?
I have over the years. Yeah.
He's a really,
Couple
really,
things.
really fantastic guy.
Yeah. Very talented. Yeah.
We're lucky to have him in the area.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're probably rounding it out here. I'm just gonna see what I had here and what we didn't do. We got a little bit of One Way Rider in, eh? Did we? Yeah, we did. Okay.
I think we did.
We're gonna do a little after recording of a tune for a Christmas for y'all. But I'm thinking, I don't know, On Your Mind or we did King's Gone. We did a bunch of stuff. Yeah, On Your Mind is probably the last thing. How do you guys feel about that one? Little country number. Thanks for indulging us with all the playing tonight and all of the just coming and not knowing us. Actually, this is kind of our first time spending time together. I have met you several times over the years, most recently at the Norwood Fair, where I got to sit on the side of the stage and listen to you for an hour. And it was just such a joy. And these guys as well. It was just a thrill to hear you. And that was when I got the idea that maybe you'd come up here and hang out with us and play some music for a night. So, wow, what a treat
I
for us.
enjoyed it. Thank you.
What a treat.
And I enjoyed you guys down there too. I
Oh,
love the music.
Well, thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in once again. If you're out there, Christmas is upon us. That can mean a lot of joy for a lot of people. It can also mean a lot of loneliness and other feelings for other people. As always, it's been weird. So, be nice, be kind, be friendly out there, especially if you're shopping in public and not online. Being out in public for people is still a weird thing. So, everybody just give everybody else a little bit of space, some love, and some forgiveness and compassion. And we'll get through till, another Christmas season. But in the meantime, we're going to be signing off with a little song called On Your Mind. It's a song I wrote one night when I was smoking a little bit too much weed and listening to a little bit too much Hank Williams. And, the only thing original about it is that I wrote this one. Where does the original wall sort of slide on that one? Yeah. It's a bunch of cliches in a different order than other people put them in. When you're drunk and you got no place to go, and you don't want the sleep to bring tomorrow, you can reach out and call. It won't hurt me at all to know that sometimes you find me on your mind. When you're lonely, feeling restless late at night, and you find you just keep doing what ain't right, reach out and call. It won't hurt me at all to know that sometimes you find me on your mind. Help me out, boys. Many miles apart, trying to make a brand new start. It's not been easy, but I'm still doing fine. I'm thinking about you and I'm still on your mind. When you're lonely, feeling restless late at night, and you find you just keep doing what ain't right, reach out and call. Won't hurt me at all to know that sometimes you find me on your mind. Take it away, Steve. Trying to make a brand new start. It's not been easy, but I'm still doing fine. I'm thinking about you and I'm still on your mind. Oh, I got so into listening to Steve there. Let's just cycle the verse for a little bit here and we'll counter in, we'll get it going. Let Steve wind us out. 2, 3. and gentlemen, thank you very much once again for coming out, tuning in. If you're watching this later on in the week, please feel free to share it with your favorite friends. If you got any guitar fans out there, let them all know about Steve Petico. Mr. Grant, thank you for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. Thanks to Longtooth for giving us beer, Yorkville and Trainer for giving us gear, and all of you for giving you everything that you give us.
All of us for being here.
Steve, thank you so much. Wonderful. Oh, I put some new brushes on your drum tonight. I found them. You might want them. They're new. Yeah, I know. I might have stolen them. Neil,
Hi.
thank you for coming out, my friend.
My pleasure.
As always.
As always.
Did you have fun tonight?
I did indeed. Just had an absolute blast.
Excellent. Barry, thank you for crossing the street once again and doing all the switching and the sound, everything we needed to do. And of course, Steve Petico, thank you for making the drive up.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. And every now and then you come to mind, and it makes me search for something I can't find. And then it disappears. The pain in all those years, I know that sometimes you find me on your mind. Many miles apart, trying to make up right. Started stopping easy and I'm still fine. Think about you and I'm still on your mind. Come on. Think about you and I'm still on your mind. Think about you and I'm still on your mind. Thank you, Ken, Steve, Barry, Neil, and Mr. Steve Petico. Thank you all for watching. It's been another great week. Next week, we'll be doing a tribute to Jackie Cook. If you have any requests that you might want to hear for her, please send them along. Give us a chance to learn them. Otherwise, we'll be playing, most of the usual sad songs, and of course, some songs that make me remember Jackie. And again, I think that was all the talking points. I'm sure when I get off, my wife will remind me that I forgot to talk about something, but it was just too damn exciting tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we are signing off. Whiskey Wednesday, Music for Goats. Thank you very much. Cheers. Be well.
Good night.
Once again, thanks for spending another Wednesday with us here at Storyhouse Studios. Thanks to Trainer, Yorkville, and the Longtooth Beverage Company for being a part of the show. We love our time on the Whiskey Wednesday show and appreciate all of your support. Don't forget to hit up the tip jar if you feel so inclined. Never expected, but always appreciated. Tune in every week for more guests, songs, stories, drinks, and gear talk. And don't forget to visit the website, www.kentizzard.com, to sign up for the Whiskey Wednesday wrap-up. Compiled by Allison, this is a monthly overview with highlights, directories of songs, and so much more. Be kind, be helpful, be happy, be safe. See you next week.